Welcome back to Euro Football Daily, where for today's top 10 we take you through the 10 best transfer windows across the continent. Let's get into it. 10. Nice. We kick off this 10 with Patrick Vieira's Nice team, who are looking to build on a campaign where they finished in 5th spot, earning automatic qualification to the Europa League. Firstly, they may have lost Malang Sarr on a free transfer to Chelsea, but there was very little they could do to prevent an out-of-contract player moving on to bigger things. And when you look at the ins, they have more than compensated. Sarr's replacement and the Eagles' most expensive move this summer is the 8 million Robson Bambu, signed from Atletico Paranaense, and the 22-year-old is expected to start for Brazil at next year's Olympics. There's also young striker Amin Guri, who we recently covered over on FD's top 10 transfers. Elsewhere, they picked up talented left-back Hassan Kamara from Reims for just €4 million, strengthened the other flank with Swiss youth international Jordan Lotomba from Young Boys, and reinforced their midfield with the €2 million signing of Morgan Schneiderlin. There's also the lone arrival of wayward Ronnie Lopez, and if these players play to the heights we've seen before, Nice could push for a Champions League berth. 9. Inter Miami. Before we go any further, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Euro Football Daily and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our fantastic top 10s. This might be Euro Football Daily, but we aren't adverse to taking a trip stateside if the opportunity presents itself. Although it is with the caveat that if these moves were made by a European club, they probably wouldn't be on this list, as we take a look at Inter Miami. The first big name to sign for the Herons was former Juventus midfielder Blaise Matuidi, who also happens to be a former teammate of club owner David Beckham, the two pairing up at PSG. A World Cup winner just 2 years ago and with 7 league titles to his name, the 33-year-old is certainly a coup for Inter Miami, without even having to allocate him as a designated player, a rule introduced to get around the MLS salary cap. Instead, that designated player slot went to Gonzalo Higuain, also a former teammate of Beckham's at Real Madrid. The 32-year-old is set to earn almost $9 million over his 2-year deal, making him the league's highest paid player. He may have skied a penalty on his debut, but in terms of name recognition, Higuain is arguably the biggest player any MLS side could have signed this summer. 8. PSV Eindhoven. To the Netherlands next, where PSV Eindhoven have had an eye-catching window. Firstly, the club have appointed former Leverkusen boss Roger Schmidt as head coach. Formerly part of the Red Bull setup, managing Salzburg from 2012 to 2014, before his switch to the Bundesliga, Schmidt has built a reputation for attractive attacking play. And the main beneficiary of this is set to be Erjan Zahavi, who despite being 33, is expected to thrive. In his last 7 years, the Israeli international scored 230 goals in 285 matches, setting season goal-scoring records in both his homeland with Maccabi Tel Aviv and Guangzhou RNF in China. PSV also spent €8 million on Augsburg left-back Philipp Max, who was being courted by bigger Bundesliga clubs, and made his name as a set-piece specialist in Germany, contributing 34 goals over the last 3 years and averaging over 2 key passes a match. Add the acquisition of Toulouse talent Ibrahim Sangare and the loan signing of RB Leipzig's Swiss international goalkeeper Jan Mvogo, and you have a side that could be looking to win their first title in 3 years. 7. Bayern Munich. Under Hansi Flick, Bayern Munich won the treble at a canter. When a team is as good as this, it can be hard to have a good transfer window. As after all, how do you improve the best team in the world over the last 10 months? Well, Bayern have managed to do just that, without having to spend too much to do so. Of course, the marquee signing is Leroy Sane, the man they have tried to snag from Manchester City for over a year, and was reportedly close to leaving before tearing his ACL. It may be 12 months later than intended, but the €45 million paid up front can only be considered a win for the Bavarians. Firmly in the business of hoovering up Bundesliga talent, Schalke's Alexander Nubel, considered Germany's best young goalkeeper, arrived on a free and is expected to be Manuel Neuer's long-term replacement. And they also picked up PSG youngster Tanguy Nianzou for free, with the 18-year-old centre-back another future star. Add to that Espanyol's Marc Roca, who they finally landed after a failed bid 12 months earlier, and the return of Douglas Costa, and it's clear they are already building their next great side, and still expected to romp home in the Bundesliga regardless. Not a bad summer. 6. SC Braga. Whilst title-chasing Benfica have spent the big money in Portugal this year, it's actually Braga who we're going to focus on, as they have made a number of smart transfers to try and close the gap to the top 2. The nation's 4th biggest side have spent just €9 million but have improved all over the pitch. The majority of that was spent on Barcelona's 20-year-old Abel Ruiz, a regular for their B team and at youth level for Spain, with the centre forward hoping to benefit from consistent game time. There's also a return to Portugal for Nico Gaitan, who is only 4 years removed from a big money move out of the league to Atletico Madrid. He arrived on a free, as did former Porto midfielder Andre Castro, while winger Yuri Medeiros also returns home on loan from Nuremberg, 3 years after a move to Genoa, following a 15-goal contribution season for Boa Vista. These moves, along with general squad depth, might seem like a patchwork of past heroes. But in a league that doesn't see as much money flow down the table, it's very shrewd business from a team looking to secure that third spot. 5. RC Lens. RC Lens finished second in Ligue 2 last season and secured promotion, but are now amongst the favourites to go down. But just one defeat in their opening 5 has seen opinions change. The Blood and Gold signed 9 players, spending €90 million in the process. A name familiar to English fans, Gael Kakuta arrived on loan from Amiens, and has already contributed 3 goals and an assist. The €6 million spent on niche striker Ignatius Ganaga has already produced 4 goals. In fact, their first 8 goals this season were scored by new signings, with €3.5 million Argentine centre-back Facundo Medina getting the other. A record €8.5 million was also splashed on 25-year-old Udinese midfielder Seko Fofana, who was almost as key as teammate Rodrigo de Paul was in Serie A. Not only that, but they secured highly talented Venezuelan goalkeeper Vulca Farinaz on a loan deal from Colombian side Millonarios. The final move of note was the permanent signing of Corentin Jean from Toulouse for just €1 million, who scored 3 goals in 9 after his January arrival. Solid additions for a team hoping to avoid the drop for the first time in 3 Ligue 1 campaigns. 4. Borussia Dortmund. Sometimes a good transfer window is not just constituted by the quality of players coming in, but also not having to sell. And Borussia Dortmund have certainly managed that. Building a reputation as elite talent developers over recent years, being able to keep hold of Jadon Sancho, and to a lesser extent Erling Haaland, is certainly a win for the German side. In a transfer saga that has lasted for what feels like forever, Man United just never met Sancho's €120 million asking price, meaning the 20-year-old Englishman will be staying put. The same can be said for Haaland, with Dortmund having to ward off Real Madrid from making a move this time round. Of course, they did make some transfers of their own, most notably seeing Emre Can move permanently from Juventus and spending €23 million to make 17-year-old Jude Bellingham English football's next big export. Thomas Meunier arrived on a free from PSG to fill that right-back spot, whilst Renier is the latest Real Madrid player to be loaned to BVB. And let's face it, if Dortmund want to challenge for the Bundesliga, they can't sell any big names anyway. 3. Inter Milan. The only Italian side to feature in this list, Inter Milan are once again gearing up for another assault on the Serie A title, hoping to thwart Juventus at the second time of asking under Antonio Conte. Of course, the main arrival was Achraf Hakimi for €40 million, more than offset by the fee received from Mauro Icardi, as his move to PSG became permanent. But that's not it. Nicolo Barella and Stefano Sensi are now permanent additions, as is Alexis Sanchez, who found a resurgence in form at the back end of the season. Then there's Arturo Vidal, who whilst 33 years of age is a perfect fit for the Conte system, whilst manager and player also know each other well from their Juve days. As well as incomings, Inter have also been able to shift a number of veterans, including Antonio Candreva, Diego Godin and Borja Vallejo. Then there's the curious case of Andrea Pinamonti, who Genoa were obligated to buy after a loan for €20 million, only for Inter to buy the 21-year-old striker back for €8 million. If you're making money on a player you get to keep, then it's definitely been a good window. 2. Villarreal. Firmly established as a European club, finishing in the top 6 of La Liga in 11 of the last 16 seasons, it's surprising how often Villarreal fly under the radar as an extremely well-run football club. This summer has been no different, as they strengthened all over the pitch with a net spend of just €6 million to show it. Of course, the marquee signing is that of Dani Parejo from Valencia on a free, who arrived from their neighbours along with Francis Coquelin, who himself cost just €6.5 million. These two midfielders very much the centre of Losce's Champions League side last campaign. They've also been joined by Geronimo Rulli, a goalkeeper with 170 appearances for Real Sociedad over the last 6 years. These moves were funded by strikers Carl Toko Akambe and Erez Unal, whose sales raised around €23 million, of which 2/3 of that was spent on Watford left-back Pervis Estupinan, who spent last year shining on loan with Osasuna. The 22-year-old made 4 defensive actions a match, as well as over a key pass and a dribble per 90. Villarreal haven't spent big, but they have spent smart. Expected Champions League push this season. 1. Chelsea. Nobody quite anticipated just how much Roman Abrahmovich would spend, as Frank Lampard's team consists of over £220 million worth of new players. well over double any other team in the world. Splashing the cash doesn't always lead to sensible signings though, but it's hard to say that Chelsea haven't addressed all their needs this season. Edouard Mendy arrived from Rennes as competition for the much maligned Kepa in goal, whilst Thiago Silva brings a wealth of experience to a shaky backline, 21-year-old Malang Sarr in the same position as a future investment, and in Ben Chilwell they have picked up one of the best left-backs in the Premier League. Further forward Kai Havertz, Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech cost a combined £156 million, but have scored 95 and set up a further 49 goals between them over the last 2 campaigns. Project Youth may have come to an abrupt end at Stamford Bridge, but with this sort of talent coming to replace them, we're sure Chelsea fans won't mind too much. After a window like this, the pressure is now on Lampard to get them all performing on the pitch. So guys, that was our rundown of the 10 best transfer windows this summer. What did you guys think of the list? Did we miss anyone out? And did anyone not deserve to be there? Let me know in the comments down below. As I said earlier, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. And I'll see you next time.